Hello, good evening. My name is Elias Munsha, and I am coming to you live from my home office here. Elias Munsha here. Thank you for joining me. I'm just going to give you a few minutes to connect and spread the word around that we are online. I know this is a little late, so we'll try to see. I'm just trying to spread the word around from here to see that we are connected everywhere. Let me know if everything is going good. Picture, sound, everything perfect. All right. Okay. So today I just want to address two matters, very important matters. And yeah, so today I'm going to address just two. Maybe there will be a third one. Okay. The first one is we're going to deal with what it means to make an ex parte order, okay? Ex parte. So we'll talk about ex parte for a bit. And then we are going to talk about the new cyber law, the new law that President Lungu has signed today. Did he sign it today or he signed it yesterday? Because, time. Okay, he signed it yesterday, which was a Friday. And so what does it really mean? We've spoken a little bit about that cyber law. And so I just hope to continue talking about it, okay? So those are the two items that we're going to talk about. And then we might talk about this. I posted a picture of me at the office kitchen. In our office complex, there is a kitchen. So when we make tea, we rinse our cups there, okay? So I went and I was rinsing 2 cups that I had used to drink tea from, right? 2 cups. And then I asked one of my students to say, take me a picture while I'm cleaning my cups. And I knew that it might be an issue, so we posted it. And some people are asking me whether I am married, right? So I find that question to be quite fascinating. Why would you be asking whether I'm married just because I'm cleaning after myself? It doesn't make sense to me. So I'm wondering what is really going on. What has marriage got to do with me cleaning after myself at the office or even at home? Is there a rule somewhere that a person should not clean their own cup? Niwe wanwa. You are the one who was niwe wanwa from the tea, and you expect someone else to clean up after you, which is pretty good, okay? If you really have somebody who can be doing that for you, I think that's great. But to question someone, why did you take a picture in shule wamia? Amakap. So that is a little bit of the issue, okay? Now, so what is really happening? And men supposed to touch plates and cups, right? Even in homes, and men expected to do that, right? Whose duty is it? In our home, of course, we have three boys, 3 men. That's me, my 16-year-old, and my 15-year-old, my wife, and of course our daughter. So the 5 of us, three guys. And the boys must do chores. That's just given. They must sweep. They must do dishes. They must do their own laundry. Nobody does laundry for them. They must do their own laundry. And so this idea that somehow men should not do chores is very, very interesting. Okay. Now, one of the men are saying that the whole reason why they do not actually clean after themselves is that nga batampokula iwamisha imwe bana mayo ati mulabatola munganda mwe ati mulabatola efe tabasukire embale ati the day basuke embale nishmu abatola bashtata kanshi they can't even jump at all. So please normalize this thing. They want to help out. Nabo bapyangeko banayeko nobwali basunge kwa bana bachiteko tumoto wa munganda. No, but when they try to do that, imwe nishmwa batola. This is very, very unfair. So lekeni ukutola bashtata. Men, you want to help, isn't it? You want to help, but it's because of certain limitations. That's why you don't want to do it. Because you do it today, right? At nishba mingiri that it's because mwali gata kulikap na kumbale. Anyway, our culture is definitely changing, and so as more and more women become professional, they are working outside the home. So even at home, it's work, right? But a lot more women are working outside the home. They are working as maids. They are working as secretaries. They are working as directors. They are working as bank managers. They are working as teachers, lawyers, and everything else, and doctors. And so that is putting a lot more pressure on them. And so society is likely to evolve to a situation where the traditional roles that we've known are no longer going to be quite workable. It's not going to work. And so when I say this, I'm not trying to upset our traditional structure, because our traditional structure has helped to put us where we are now. But there is definitely some links, right? Some break in the links. And so we'll see how far our culture will take us. But certainly we need to let a young man married who wants to help out to continue helping out without judging them. It's society. Sometimes even women themselves. Why is that shtata cleaning after himself? So we are breeding a generation of irresponsible men. If it's below our roles. Okay, so there is nothing that is really below our roles. And so I just found it quite fascinating today that that we could do that. Okay, now I'm not saying that change the culture, change everything in Zambia. All I'm saying is it's okay. That's what I'm saying. I'm not saying, no, let's change the law, let's change the culture, let's change everything. No, all I'm saying is it's okay for a man to clean after himself. If a man afoyo clean after himself, tekuya mukumupoka, no kumwingirira, no kumuchita dominate, no kumukontolola. No. So just be nice and be happy. Yeah, so just be nice and be happy. So what do you think about Abaume? Should Abaume be washing after themselves? Try, when you take tea, bakuletera tea wanwa. Kabiye kaichiteko usukulusheko no, usukulusheko, just it's the little things. You're not doing all these things that because you just want to impress your woman. You're doing it because it's the right thing to do. It's just the right thing to do. Yeah, anyway. Glenda, it's such a shame. Our Zambian men need a lot of education when it comes to that. Imwe, this question is very controversial because that's very big, right? So some attitudes are going to be changing slowly, and it's slightly complicated. It's complicated because the reason why some men are reluctant to do it, like I've said, it's because balomva kona kalimo balabengirira kuba kashinga bafuirisha mu kitchen. So they try to avoid it. Sometimes it's also to do with the economy, right? Our household economies, where for a very long time women were mostly working out in the home instead of outside the home. So there will be several changes to that. So we expect some cultural changes. But to the young men, and if you help out, do not feel like it's something bad. It's okay. So normalize that feeling that yes, you can clean. Do I clean adequately myself? If you ask my wife, she'll probably tell you that no, I don't do enough, and it's true. We need to step up and do slightly more than we are currently doing. That's just the reality. Yeah. Chris Jones Mutonga, I have been following you for the last month. Thank you very much for doing that. So we are going to go into substantive things. Zambians don't have a proper exegesis of marriage. Mbuya, you are bringing in a very big topic, exegesis of marriage. You're right. Okay. That is the long-lasting legacy of the colonial imposition of naturalized gender norms based on biological sex differences. We need to dismantle that coloniality of being. Okay, this is complicated, but I agree. I think there is certainly some problems with the way we've perceived gender and the way we have assigned roles based on gender, right? One of the things is these ideas, these preconceived cultural ideas of how we separate gender roles. Some of it, the separation of roles, of gender roles, some of it has been quite arbitrary. It's not been empirically discovered or tested. For example, this idea that women are not good at math. When you look at actual math scores and you follow through tests, you find that women are as good as men with math, right? General school performance between a man and a woman. So if I'm growing up in Chiwempala and I'm going to Tuatasha Primary School, how are we going to judge academic performance? Okay. If I am in grade 5, 6, or 7, I go with my fellow girls, pupils, right? We start school at 6 or 7. The thing is, I would have an extra time of sleep as a boy, right? Look at how unfair our culture has been in some cases. The girl, on the other hand, must wake up around 5 or 4, all right, to clean the house, and mostly clean after the parents, clean after me, and everything else. Then we go to school together. When we go to school together and we knock off at about 12, or is it 10 or 11, we go back. I can go back and go play. The girl must go back and begin sweeping and cooking and preparing for the evening. And so I can go back and begin studying. That is not the same that is given to the woman. That young girl must go back and begin working at home. And so when we are given a test, as a boy, I'm likely to do far much better than the girl, probably because she had a lot more on her plate than I did. And so these are some of the gender issues that we need to reflect on and think about, right? The idea that sometimes the way we even judge intelligence is sometimes not empirically tested. It is because two people, a man, a boy, and a girl, experiencing the same things in very different ways. And yet when a test comes, they are both tested, and then there is this assumption that is made that girls are somehow not as intelligent. Okay. And so this then carries on to roles and chores and everything else. I'm not saying that today women should say no to doing chores and assign all this on men. What I'm saying is there is a little bit of flexibility. A man can do chores. It's okay, right? Yeah. That's how it should be. Okay, so yeah, so Glenda, ask how many men do what he is just talking about. I'm a Zambian woman who has seen how men behave in homes back home in Zambia. I rarely saw men cleaning up when I was in Zambia. Out here, I see most men cooking. Yeah, it's true. That's how we've grown up in Zambia, right? That men do not go to the kitchen. Men do not touch the kitchen because the kitchen belongs to women, right? So definitely that is being challenged, and I'm challenging young men and other men that it's okay. It's okay to help out. It's okay to do some play. No, it's okay. There is nothing that is biological. There is no biological connection between a woman no pianga. Okay? There is no biological connection between a woman no pianga or between a woman no kuipika. There is nothing like that. And Okupianga does not rob you as a man of your manhood. Obwaume, tegoba tubwaume nomba ninshi wala chitashani wala chepanga chakutira wapyanga. Okay, that's not true. And so aho kuti epo buchiri nero wapwisha okupyanga obwaume bwena ninshi buli kwisa epo buchiri tabufumapo iyo. So we need to have men they are quite comfortable in their own skins. They are quite comfortable as human beings, first of all, not Viviama Rose and everything else, because sometimes these things, they don't help our society. So if we don't have comfortable in you, if you are a man, you are a man. If you are a woman, you are a woman. And if Younger does not mean that no manishi. Nijuwa umebasenda. Bakwetu atubwa umegwire kwiza atubwa umena basenda pantu bachirapyanga. No. You can still be a in fact extremely strong man. Umwaume mwana lume ngao nechipyango. Okay, that's just the thing. Yeah. So those are some of the things that we need to think about. Again, I'm not saying that no, but I'm which that upset our traditional structure. No, all I'm saying is it's normal. It's okay for a man to do certain things. It's okay. Society na change. We are moving on. Na culture the develop. That's what's culture. Culture ila chinja. Everything before tumwana bwana kalimo it's African culture. It's not. Fimo ifitu wafipangire fie. Ero nomba tuwasa mwana bwana kalimo it's African culture. No. Bambi particularly fwe na Kristo limo. No kubika musana Bible at your Bible yadi. No. The fact that something is in the Bible does not make it right. You see? Because the Bible is written out of a particular culture. So the culture of the Bible, some of it is not biblical. So you do not take any practice that is done in the Bible as if it were biblical. When we say biblical, we are looking at principles that are consistent with the Word of God and with our faith, not necessarily something that is consistent with culture. Some of the things in the Bible are cultural matters that apply to people who lived during Abraham's times. Okay, you are not living during Abraham's times, so you culture yako Abraham na culture yobe tefimo fine yo umayanda mu Abraham alekala te mumayanda wikala. If Abraham ale berenga tefyo berenga, if Abraham ale landa no kulanda tefyo landa yo. So we need to be careful when we are trying to interpret the Bible and thinking that what is in the culture of Abraham is what should create an example for how we need to live here today. Because some of the things that are in the Bible are not biblical. Okay? All right. Well, let's move on from that topic. Let's move on from that topic. Let's move on from that topic. Tifuna matevera tulawasha. Mwandi, kuwasha. So some think that we need to help women because so that batutemwe. Now, and so that batupere wino. You know what I mean? This is 2130 film to fialuvana. And forgot batupere wino so kuba nice. No. The reason why you are helping out, it's not because you want to be rewarded. No, you are doing it because it's the right thing. Okay? You're not doing it so that no, as a man. You're doing whatever you are doing because it's the right thing to do. That's just the end of it. You're doing it because it's something that has to be done. You're not doing it so that she feels or to appreciate you more or to do you better. No. Okay. Because sometimes it's part of life. It's part of living. So this rigid, roles is not right. So let's do away with some of those things. Okay, why should you help out? Because it's the right thing to do. But sometimes women also give the same impression of I need my husband to help out because once they help out, then I can do better for them. No. No, there is no connection. Okay. The reason why that's the right thing to do. Okay, they shouldn't be doing it so that they get a better treatment. No. So these are some of the things. Mama. Nchirenda nomba ifintu fyonse vichinje no. Ndelanda fye. You know, idia pansaka, so that some of you get it. Okay. Let's move on. Let's move on to the next topic. Ex-Parte Orders. Ex-Parte Orders. I have written several times on Ex-Parte Orders. I've written a lot on some practices within the Zambian jurisdiction. Now, I need to be clear that sometimes a jurisdiction needs somebody on the outside to look in. Okay, so a jurisdiction like Zambia, I think it's going to be very helpful. That's why I think I'm slightly helpful for the Zambian jurisdiction and for the development of Zambian law, because I do not speak as somebody who is a Zambian legal practitioner, because I'm not a Zambian legal practitioner. I'm a Zambian citizen who is a legal practitioner in Canada, okay? So I'm a citizen who practices law in Canada, all right? And so because of that, you can have certain insight of looking in, all right? Looking in. Sometimes the insight that people that are inside the trenches might not have, okay? That's why when I'm talking about ex parte applications and ex parte injunctions in Zambia, I am trying to look in and make some suggestions, some suggestions regarding ex parte injunctions. So So what are ex parte applications? First of all, let's begin by looking at the ex parte applications. Our legal system in Zambia, in Canada, as well as in England, they have developed from what is known as the common law. So Zambia, Australia, Canada, England, all these countries are known as common law countries. So common law countries have similar judicial traditions, okay? Very similar traditions. In fact, they are the same. Even terms, okay? Like the term ex parte. So it's Latin, it's corrupted Latin, ex parte, corrupted Latin, but it's English. It's from the English legal systems, okay? Now, here in Canada, we've tried to do away with Latin phrases, okay, in preference for English phrases anyway. But the word ex parte is still very, very much in use. Okay. So the systems are pretty similar. The rules are very, very similar, if not the same. And the law that governs ex parte applications, inter parte hearings, and everything, they are basically the same. You might benefit from knowing that in addition to the High Court rules in Zambia, there is another book known as the White Book, which is used in Zambian practice, okay? It is an English book. It's an English it's an English book of rules of civil procedure. It's known as the White Book, okay? Supreme Court Rules 1998, I believe. So what is current law in Zambia right now is what the English legal system was doing in 1998. So there's been a lot of changes from 1998 Kubasungu, but there's not been those changes in Zambia, okay? So I just want to create this background so that nganalanda mumfwe umondelo share. Okay? Now, the standard for any hearing in the common law world is that a judge hears from two sides, okay? Before they render a decision. They hear from two sides. So let's assume that I'm Judge Munsha, okay? And then there is person Martin, and then there is Peter, all right? Peter and so Martin and Peter, Martin Kaumba Musole and Peter Chilufia. Volume na here. O ni volume yenu. Awepo ili. Okay. All right. So back to the topic, because I was taken up there because somebody was saying that volume 9. All right. So ex parte orders. So let's assume there is Peter and Martin. The rule is before a judge hears kumfwa kumbarishonse. So Peter and Martin, they come before judge, okay, before Judge Munsha. I hear from Peter, I hear from Martin, and then I make a decision. There is this wrong misconception that people have, thinking that judges know the law, right? Like judges should know everything. No, judges do not know everything. In fact, judges ask Nama lawyers, right? A judge can ask a lawyer to say, Ine as a judge, do I have jurisdiction? Right? Because the biggest quality that judges must have is the ability to listen to both sides, not necessarily the ability to be so intelligent as to know the law. No. Okay? So all this misconception judge judge no. Judge afuire fe abo muntu owakumva embali shonse shibiri. All right? Two parties. So when two parties are appearing before you as a judge, it's known as an inter-party hearing. Inter-party. Inter parte means part A, part B. All right? It could be many other parties, but let's simplify it. Two parties, Peter and Martin, they've appeared before a judge. Okay? And then Peter explains, oh, judge, this is the problem I have with Martin. And then naena Martin alondorola. Peter alandevere na mwishiba Martin nadimushitisha Benz at 20,000 and Pirafie 18,000. Na sharana 2,000. So imuba judge. Na mipela evidence through affidavits. Nalemba affidavit okobati ine nadimushitisha Benz at 20,000 elo nomba satishan. Asa ndipira kwa 18,000. Alexa 2,000. So imweba judge mwebeni andipire 2,000. Na mpokeni 2,000. Janden 2,000. Epitoy. Elo Martin ayeba judge vere oyu Peter arebe po ufipantu 2,000 alera ndapokale namulipira. Namulipire shan. Nalimulipire on such and such a day. Elo nomba judge after aumfwa from the two sides. Contract epo idi uyaranda ati 18,000 uyaranda 2,000. Elo asasa la judge vere between the two. Kweno na chiteke loko watalande chinka ni nani ni Peter or ni Martin. Elo apanga decision. And that decision becomes binding. Inter parte. That is what it means. Okay. Inter parte. Two parties. Now, there are circumstances in which a person can appear before a judge alone. Weka. In other words, waya weka. So, you have issues with, it's Peter and Martin. You have issues with Martin. Now, before Tamulaya kuliba judge, at the same time, ukuya mukulubulula. Peter aya kuli judge eka. Elo aya lomba what is known as an ex-parte order. Alieka. That's what it means when they say ex-parte. Ex-parte means udiweka or ayaweka. You go alone to talk to a judge, and what you are looking for from a judge varies. Okay? In some cases you can say, before Martin comes to respond to the lawsuit, I want you as a judge, mumpeleko a temporary order, nsunge whatever money I have, something like that. Okay? Nango mumpeleko a temporary order, uyu Martin uyu alindipirako kale 18,000. No, mandevo mumpeleko a temporary order, if there is a kind of a relationship, for example, kumukanyo kobati Martin, elaisa mukumpange chongo ko office, something like that. Okay? It's true, I am seeking 2,000 kwacha that he is owing me. But in the meantime, ale mpanga sane chongo, aleisa mukumpangire chongo ko office. So therefore mumpeleko a temporary order, so that when the matter is heard finally, mukachita decide. But in the meantime, peleniko a temporary order, mpokoloreniko nchiteniko cover panono during this time. So for that application, you go alone as Peter. So why could judge? Judge averenga affidavit yobe elwa kupela what is known as an ex-parte temporary order. Ex-parte simply means one party. All right? And you get that order, and it's an order of court. Na judge nasa inapo. It's an order. It's ex-parte in the sense that waideweka. One. Secondly, it's ex-parte in the sense that it's sometimes temporary. All right? Until Martin and Peter come before you as a judge to hear from you. When a judge is granting what is known as an ex-parte order, much of it is what is known as discretionary. So by discretionary, what we mean is, judges a lot of wide discretion. Discretion this is what I believe. So it's discretion. And so that is what it is. So a judge has wide discretion. Now, it's a lot more complicated than if in the never simplify. It's a little bit more complicated. Ama Supreme Court's yonse na kuzambia kuinibali some guidelines of how a judge needs to evaluate an application for an ex-parte order or an ex-parte injunction, what they need to think, what are the principles that need to guide their discretion when they are giving that ex parte temporary order. Okay, so that is the practice all over. Now, the golden standard, of course, is that you need to hear from two parties. The issue I have as an outsider to the Zambian jurisdiction, as an outsider looking in, is that even when I'm talking to my friends, okay, of the Zambian bar, they've always taken it for granted. The few people that have discussed these issues with, they've always taken it for granted, as long as somebody applies for an ex parte order and an inter party hearing is set, it is okay to obtain that order. Right? But the problem is some of these ex parte orders do not just end at trying to work on the temporary issue. Some of them are quite deep. Some of them go as far as giving permanent rights. For example, what happened in the KCM matter, right? In the KCM matter, it was an ex parte order to appoint a liquidator. Now, the reason we objected to that was that the ex parte order was too powerful, extremely powerful. Even if you called it a temporary order, it gave one party a lot more power. Now, of course, that is done under the Companies Act, right? Under the Companies Act, under the liquidation or whatever, receivership acts and everything like that. But still more, it is too permanent to grant on the basis of one party making the application. That is the major concern that we had. Most of the jurisdictions here and in England, they have moved from granting interim injunctions as a matter of course. All right? They've moved on from that. The reason why they've moved on from that, granting interim injunctions on ex parte basis, is because they want to hear from both parties, from both parts, at least even before they grant an interim injunction. In other words, the Zambian jurisdiction, honestly, it needs to interrogate itself as to why interim ex parte injunctions are granted so as readily as they are currently granted. I'm not saying that it is illegal. It is still legal. The question is, it betrays efficient administration of justice. Let's take the MMD convention, right? Okay. So here are the guys, 23 of them, are they 23 or 24, including Webi Chipile? They go to a judge on an ex parte basis. Ex parte means they themselves. They sue MMD, they sue Nevas Mumba, they sue whoever is secretary of MMD, and then they obtain an ex parte injunction stopping a convention. The judge has that discretion, but the exercise of this discretion is a lot more used in Zambia than in other jurisdictions. My submission is, what you need to do as a judge, when Webi Chipiri comes before you and says, I want to obtain an ex parte interim injunction to stop the convention, you can say, quite all right, take this letter to that person from me as a judge, go and tell them to come and respond to this application for an interim injunction. Again, you are not dealing with a substantive application, just the interim injunction itself. If you can get the other party to come, that's a better solution. You cannot say that because I've set a date for an inter-party hearing, then it's okay. No, that's not the issue. The reason is because that order that you are going to grant is going to permanently affect other people's rights. So what did that interim injunction say? It was going to stop the MMD from conducting a convention. And it's going to stop the MMD from conducting a convention. The entire MMD is going to ground to a halt on the basis of an interim ex parte injunction that is obtained by one person. So, if you are going to give an interim order that has permanent consequences, my submission is listen to both sides. So I don't know what happened yesterday. That's why I couldn't comment on these interim injunctions until at least yesterday was over. But I understand that it's all confusion. It's confusion in the sense that, quite all right, a judge granted the injunction. Quite all right, he granted the injunction, and he granted the order. MMD ignored it. And then the same people go back to the judge, and the judge is like, well, I'm going to discharge this injunction because the MMD convention has already taken place, at least from the reports that we had. Have you seen? So what is all that about? Okay? What is all that about? So these are temporary applications that are being made. My suggestion would be, if you have to stop anybody, and if an application is on an emergency basis, find the other party. Let them come and argue before you. The MMD's contention was, these guys are not members. Now listen to this fundamental question. The MMD is saying, these are not even members. Right? How then can they go before a judge, obtain such a far-reaching order to stop an MMD convention? At least before you grant that order, better have some of these people come and address it. It's not urgent. It's not urgent in the sense that they in fact obtained it the day before the convention, right? And what is the judge going to do? So the convention goes on ahead, and then what is the judge going to do to arrest the MMD for going ahead with the convention? It's complicated, and so it's not helping with the efficient administration of justice. These ex parte interim injunctions. So anyone, the PF is going to be holding a convention. So anyone can go swear an affidavit before a judge and obtain an injunction to stop the PF from going ahead with the convention. You know the consequences of such is pretty dire, right? For the integrity of our own legal systems and legal development. So any person, you can just go swear an affidavit and stop a convention, right? So what about the NDC injunction? Same story, right? So they've obtained an ex parte order restraining one person from being called president of NDC. It was obtained ex parte. Was it urgent? Maybe it was urgent. Could it have benefited from hearing from both sides at the injunction stage before you even go to the substantive hearing? Could it have been helpful? Yes, it would have been helpful. Zambian litigators, particularly political litigators, the issue is they keep relitigating same issues over and over and over again. That's another problem. Take the MMD issue, for example. The same arguments that are being made in the Webichipili case, they're the same ones where Nevas Mumba has prevailed in the previous cases. Some of those cases took years to decide. So a person sues, obtains an interim injunction, and then when they obtain an interim injunction, they then claim that because a convention went ahead, because there was that interim injunction, therefore that convention is not recognized, and so they sue on that basis. They spend years and years held up in litigation and confusion, right? So it's very helpful to have someone like me look from outside in and say, look at this. There is something here that is not working properly. How can you work to strengthen either the interim thing or not? Now, ex parte interim orders are important. They're part of our judicial system, right? Because there are some circumstances in which one party is likely to sell off things, steal things, or somebody is likely to beat you up, so you can go to a judge and present ex parte, an ex parte application to say, restrain that person from beating me up. Okay? It's known as a temporary restraining order. You can do that, you go as one party. That's okay. They're part of our system. Ex parte orders work, for example, you can't find a person to sue. You are suing a person, you can't find them. They are on in a different address. You can go back and obtain an ex parte order, serving them substitutionally. Okay? The golden rule is if it's a Simon must be personally served on the person. Sometimes you can't find people. So you go to a judge on an ex parte basis, one party, and obtain that application. All right? So ex parte orders are part of our judicial system. The only issue is that when an ex parte order is going to grant almost permanent power to one party, no. Listen to both sides. Oh no, they never do grant ex parte injunctions as a matter of course. No, no, they will not. Ngawayati therefore fast without the other party hearing, bala kwebatoke no, ukabwere mailo nangu mubwere obushiko mwe mubebe abo mlechita suko bati ine as a judge therefore kubamona, so that they argue on this point. It's going to be an oral hearing. It's going to be a quick hearing. I just want to hear from what they are going to submit on the basis of this interim ex parte injunction that you want. Because when the other party shows up, these are not members of MMD or these are not members of NDC, so tabakwete local standby to stop a convention. Judge okay, no, this matter is going to be heard at an inter-party hearing. I'm not going to grant the injunction. When you do that, you are strengthening the system and reducing confusion in the administration of justice. Much of what has happened as far as the MMD is concerned, the confusion. Interim injunction, interim order. So if you want to pile up, tafiri clear. The court decision that ushered in Edgar Lungu as president, the same thing happened. People went, presented ex parte orders, and then after they made ex parte orders, they then made a new secretary general, and then that new secretary general then entered into a consent order with the people that had sued and kept one party away, you know? Anyway, that was the confusion that happened. All right? We're already at 48 minutes on ex parte orders. So my friends refer to the rules of the Supreme Court of England, of course. Mafunde, foema lawyers baba songo, interim injunctions, ex parte orders, fieso, ni fwetu afile mbele. Fieso, white book, yeso. Amafunde yonse it's govern if you say fieso foema lawyers baba songo fieso. So when I'm trying to come in nokulanda tibane if it's not because I'm just trying to be malicious. No, it's not because I'm trying to be malicious. Koko pako kange fyesu fya ma lawyers babasungu fyonzefi white book yesu amafunde ya injunction yesu neshina ex-parte kwalimo walera ndati we munsha tatu wakumfwe on ex-parte orders ero namwe kushenjebere iwe ex-parte orders bushe yakukabwe At Munsha, you can't tell us anything about ex-parte orders. Chebere bushe ex-parte orders yakukabwe. No, it's not. Yabasungu. Ex-parte. Yabasungu. So, ine as a lawyer wabasungu, teti njigale fie, ndemo nefi tutafire ati ndabe kofi. No, chebere no bane. Even if there is ex-parte apa, if this thing is going to be so permanent, call them. Because even 1 week is permanent. Like an ex-parte order to appoint a liquidator, it's permanent powers. The order itself is saying temporary, but under the law, it gives you permanent powers to hire some push on a company. That no, it's okay because there will be an inter-party hearing in the next 2 weeks. Within 2 weeks, you end up with a temporary order. Wajanda ma accounts, wajanda ama receivables, wajanda company, wajanda fyonse fyaba fyobe. By the time we go to inter-party hearing, ninshi now sampwisha. And it gives you so much power. So what we're asking is, galakutira ka injunction reach the sick. That is so deep. Hear from both sides. That's what we are saying. Yeah. Hear from both sides. That's all. If in them mieva for free, I'm a lawyers Mozambique, te tiva mieve panto mufure muadipira. And in fact, na papen mufurokula antipira. Sending me stars. But of course, what I say here is not legal advice. So I'm not providing legal advice to you because as far as Zambian law is concerned, only Zambian lawyers are able to provide legal advice. If in them mieva, it's not legal advice. I'm left for legal advice. Lawyers. Zambian practitioners, not just Zambian lawyers, Zambian legal practitioners. They're the ones that are going to help you. Demi panda kofia mano. No kufisopolola mwamona. Okufisopolola so that mwafichita understand. Bantu bala minchita confuse at ex-parte order and inter-party hearing. It's simple. Ex-parte order wayaweka. That's an ex-parte order. Wayaweka. Inter-party is waya na bali abolechita su mwaya bonse babiri. That's inter-party hearing. Nomba nga wayaweka elo nomba waya poka chiode chako bati chala chinja fundamentally ama rights ya mnobe awe Ile para pakushitisha company vifine liquidation iyo walikuwa imagine walikuwa taka company for example ni company shitwaranda. Okay, let's say Elias Munsha Company Limited now kwataka company no kukula walikula tuntu kwino elo nomba wakwata kwenkongole ku bank for example elo bank yaya yeka kuli judge yeka yaya kuli judge yebere tulefo okupoka chile chikulu akulu amunsha buchwempala judge asaina na pote kapokeni chiteni appoint liquidator baya bapoka your company bapoka elo bako bati mukese next week mukulubulula nomba two sides so ex-parte bamupera basonta liquidator elo banda mukese nomba in the next 2 weeks mukulubulula ojo kwete temporary order apo kama accounts ku bank yonse apo kabonsa mufiro kupoka ngajaptira it's a building and abantu ama tenants nama rentals batampo kupoka nama profits fyonse batampo kupoka. The question is ala mweba ome at least mupele niko chance munsha nao achiteshane ese na ena londolo le kaside kakwe. If this thing is too urgent, na ena mupele niko ka opportunities na ngoni pafoni mu weekend mumuipushe. Ati munsha kuli banki ilefwa yokupoke chichikulu abapele liquidator. Oleti poshani ni nkwate application lelo bachisa beka alelo ndolola. Here is a question. Chachi no wali wakongola alo bana mukulondolola munsha talondolola. Okay, that's fine. Kashina rampera interim order of appointing a liquidator. Aponisha at least munsha mfakona kanimoshane at least ba mumfwa judge aumfwa. That's what it is. Law is not very complicated. It's simple. Kumfu embali shonse shibiri uyu alanda no uyu alanda. Ero yowe judge watch that decide. Nomba chila kalipecha kwa bati iwe tauliko. Iwe tauliko wasa umfu wa fiat na abapoka. Webere imwebane mwapoka shani abati here is the order. Ama accounts bapoka fiance ne chukulu china ati liquidator will be working on it. Imwebane in company and webere no, the company is a person, separate and distinct from you. Even if you are calling it that Elias Munsha Limited, it's a person on its own. So he company as a person number, na tupoka. Someone else number is a liquidator. Ati nani? Festo mwansa ati is a liquidator. Ewa atampa nombo kukontolola. Ero bako ba tuke serisa, okay, say in 2 weeks. Number, the company issue, the complication is when you go back in 2 weeks, oya liquidator number, ewa sango kakwa temu inewa company. Akufumiyako. Tetuye muku chita respond yo. Pantu, apoka company kainge yaba yakwe. And the company is a person. Ewa sontama lawyers vakwe. So that when the inter-party hearing is happening, iwe waku itachani, you have no locus standi. If you're taking the KCM issue. So, iwe you show up, whether I'm the owner of director and shareholder of Elias Munsha Corporation here, Mpala. Elo liquidator, you have no locus standi. It's terrible. You have no locus standi. The same locus standi you would have had 2 weeks ago because somebody obtained an ex-parte order appointing somebody else as a liquidator. Iwe, you have no locus standi. You are done. And then the liquidator and the person who applied for that application, they can then make a deal, bapanga deal, palwabo, to discontinue the case. Iwe, you are out of the loop. Bakakwe bakofia tiyo tuwali sampuishe chi building chobe, tuwali pira nenkongole. Nothing remains of you. All that is being asked is alabane, mupele ni chance munshana nkwa steshani, aye alondolo le kuli judge. Before judge tala steshani, tarapela kaliaka very powerful paper. That's what it means, ex-parte and inter-parte hearing. All right? So, because the roto alondolo rasana, tatukwe tenshte ya kulanda about the cyber law, right? But in brief, the cyber law bill, sometimes abantu barera ndefintu vishirimo, okay? The most dangerous aspects of the cyber law is this thing of emotional distress, one. The other thing is when you share a meme or anything that is not true, okay? But I'm foreseeing a situation where this law is going to be tested either in the Constitutional Court or in the High Court because of the manner in which it is so vague, right? I don't anticipate there will be a lot of changes in the behavior of people, of Zambians online. I don't foresee a situation where the Zambian state is going to, because they also don't know actually what they have passed in the law. That's why that it's part of the law. No, it's not. Somebody was saying that it means you can't insult. That's not true. All right, because the law of insults is being governed by the same penal code. It's not. It has nothing to do with the new cyber crime law. All right. So what are the new things? The new things are really just about causing emotional distress on a person. Causing emotional distress, right? That is too general. How are judges going to determine emotional distress? To lock up a person for 5 years, all right? What about memes and other things that you use a computer to spread? How are they going to be knowing about that? So I don't see that this bill is going to change people's online activities. Yeah, the part of the law that says that they can seize a computer, it already existed in the 2009 law, right? seizing a computer to inspect it, to see, right? So that already exists under our law. So that is not new. Again, the extent to which they're going to use that law, we really don't know. Because they don't follow the law. They are not law. They don't follow the law. They don't even follow the law that they make. Let's look at the Public Order Act. They abuse it. So the danger is more in its abuse, in the abuse of the cyber crimes and cybersecurity law, right? That is where our vigilance is, that they are likely to abuse it. Are they going to follow your account, Facebook, in what and what? I don't think so, because Facebook is held elsewhere. But can they have power to come and search your computer? Yes, that's what the cyber crime bill is about. They can do that. Okay, can they listen into your conversations? Tapping has always been part of our Zambian law, and even in 1990, a person would obtain a court order to tap a telephone conversation, right? So telephone conversations, but you need a very elaborate procedure for them to tap into your conversations. All right. Okay, thank you. Are there any questions? Mulunda says the State Council. Okay. I agree. Nyota Mtobo, 4 stars. Thank you. How about an ex-parte order for interim injunction where one has obtained a loan and the bank is in possession of repossessing the property? Don't you think it is wise to apply for an ex-parte injunction taking into account that the bank is wrongly repossessing? That sounds like something that would need specific legal advice. I wouldn't advise on that. Go and speak to a member of the Zambian bar for that. Okay, that's too specific. I wouldn't comment on that. Yeah. Council, do you think they should abolish ex-parte? No. Ex-parte orders are part of our legal tradition. They shouldn't abolish them. The only thing is, it's a person like me looking from the outside in, right? And maybe with a little chatter here and there, it might help begin changing attitudes. Because the biggest attitudes that must begin changing are among Zambian legal practitioners themselves, who feel like ex-parte orders are okay, as long as there's going to be an inter-parte hearing at a later stage. No. No. The fact that there will be an inter-parte hearing does not justify issuing ex-parte interim injunctions like candy. Yeah. We need to develop our own African law terminologies, not if you're locus standi. So locus standi, if we used Bemba for locus standi, now which aushi at tafikuloleshe. That's what it means. At you have no locus standi, at you tafikuloleshe. So you go before a judge and your honor, or my lord, or my lady, uyu muntu yutafimuloleshe yo. That's what it means. Locus standi. At tafiku kumine, tafiku kumine. That's what it means. Locus standi. So Webichpiri, what MMD is saying is that you're not a member of MMD. So if you're to register, tafiku kumine, it's none of your business. You are not a member. So why are you bringing this application? No. Yeah. Is there a deliberate time frame for ex-parte orders? Deliberate time frame? No. Some of them are interim. Interim in the sense that, so for example, Chimba Kambwili has been restrained, right, from calling himself president of NDC until the matter now is decided. When they have the hearing, the inter-party hearing in 2 weeks' time. So in the meantime, he can't do that, right? So when the inter-party hearing is scheduled, That's when now they are going to present their cases, and then they can then discharge the interim injunction. But that's where the confusion starts, because what's the issue? An ex-parte order like this, such a discharge injunction. Our winner in the discharge of the injunction, kuisa panga ubufi, that therefore the court has ruled that he can call himself president. And so confusion yatampa popena, and it takes years for them to resolve. In the case of the MMD, that's exactly what happened. Yeah. Stars, not to type stars. To give me stars, you go to a specific place. I think Facebook needs to clarify this. Stars. Latin terminologies in law for African issues needs revision seriously. Yeah, here we are trying to do away with Latin. That's why I joke with some of my colleagues when they type up, particularly young law students, they type up all these Latin phrases, and I joke with them to say, "What does it mean?" You know, if Okunoloka standard has been changed to standing, that's it. It's just standing. Okay, ex-parte is still being used. Inter-parte is still being used, but maybe it's because we don't have an exact translation of it. But we are trying to do away with Latin as much as possible. Yeah. I'm of the opinion this law is intended to thwart the freedom of our speech and expression. Yeah, just like they abuse the Public Order Act, they're likely to abuse the Cyber Crimes Act. Yeah. All right. Thank you very much. God bless you and God bless our country. We'll see you again sometime. All right. From TV Bakwetu. Thank you.